So the other day I was rummaging about some boxes and I found a blast from the past, from my pre-adolescent days. I found my Mad magazine that a friend of mine bought me when he was in France. This is a Mad magazine extra. It's entirely in French. Kind of interesting. I haven't seen this or looked at it in like 40 years. But it's all written in French. I could never read it, but some of this Mad magazine stuff, you don't need to read it. But that was kind of interesting. But amidst all of my stuff, I found this stack of goodies that I've kept through the years. I'm not certain what this Christmas Carol thing is. I think this is Wonder Books for children ages 6 to 12. This is a Christmas Carol. I don't think this is my family. I think this is my wife's stuff. This is from 1957. I don't think this is ours. My family stuff. I think it's my wife's. But this, my Beatles magazines. This is a magazine that I cherished as a kid. We bought this at the local drugstore in my hometown. And I used to just read this from back to cover, this magazine. Oh, another Mad magazine. What do you know? This is in English. This is my, this is one of the special editions they put out. I think once a month they had Mads. This is called a collection of Al Jaffe's lowlights from Mad magazine. I haven't looked at this in many years. But I found all this Beatles stuff that I kept. This is a magazine that I'm sure my mom and dad bought me. This is the Beatles Story of Rock special, $1.95. But the most important thing here, see here, is that Paul McCartney is dead. The great hoax. Paul's mysterious double. Who is he? The death clues. The Beatle death curse. Why did the Beatles keep Paul's death a secret? And I got this magazine in 1978. Right there. And back then, I was soon to turn 13, or I'd already turned 13. And I've seen pictures of this published, on different collections on the internet. But this is a reprint. I think this magazine was originally printed in the 60s or maybe the early 70s. This is Beatle memorabilia, original limited reprint selling for up to $50 at Beatlemania auctions, important to collectors. I for some reason have my name all over this. I must have taken this into, like, this is 126 on it, or 124. Looks like my mom's handwriting. I don't know why that would be. I wonder if I took it into school. That looks like that's my handwriting. Beatles, Paul McCartney dead. Turn me on, dead man. He blew his mind out in the car. I buried Paul. Now, when was this? This is published in 78. I don't know when it was originally published. I keep writing my name in here. I don't know why I did that. I must have taken it into school with me. The accident that took Paul's life. Wow. Why did the Beatles keep Paul's death a secret? I mean, I don't think that looks like Paul McCartney. There's no way that looks like the original Paul McCartney to me. It looks very different to me. So, the mysterious double. Who is he? When Paul died 3 years ago, they say a lookalike took his place. Okay, so this was originally printed in 69. Because it says that he allegedly died in 66, so that when Paul died 3 years ago, they see a lookalike took his place. So this is originally printed in 69. They reprinted it in 78. William Campbell, the man who impersonates Paul McCartney, or is he simply one of the three imposters who are involved in the greatest hoax of the century? Paul's wedding. Who did Linda Eastman really marry? See, that to me, that doesn't look like Paul McCartney. I don't know. He looks like a pelican there. The death clues. How the album cover showed Paul's death. Magical Mystery Tour, The Fool and the Hill. There's all kinds of symbolism and allegedly in all these things. And I haven't looked at this in years, but I've been into the Beatles since I was 8, and I've been into the Paul McCartney death thing since probably 5th or 6th grade. My brother and I, when he came home from college in 77, 78, right around then, he and I would sit in the basement with an old turntable and play their records backwards. The Beatle Death Curse. So John Lennon hadn't even died yet when this is printed. Are the fate of all the Beatles and those closely associated with them guided by an incapable doom, no matter what they do? Apparently so. Except for, I guess George just died of brain cancer, but the Beatle Death Curse. Beatle, John Lennon, wife Yoko Ono lost 2 babies because of miscarriages. And then he hadn't been murdered yet by this time. The face of Paul McCartney. When did the imposter take his place? The face of Paul McCartney. The great hoax. Do the Beatles really mourn? Do the Beatles really mourn Paul's death? So I thought this was interesting. I'm going to do a little bit of take on this because the great hoax. Paul's fans cry, "It's a cruel joke. Paul's alive." There's no way that's the same guy. It just doesn't look like the same guy. It just looks totally different. And those in tears ask, why did Paul die? I don't know. This is a pretty interesting magazine. I was really into this as a kid. And I bring this up because, and of course, I went to see Ringo Starr and his All-Star Band many years ago, probably in 1990. I don't remember what year this was. What year is this concert? Of course, you got to show Ringo with a cigarette. You couldn't be a Beatle and not smoke a cigarette. Ringo Starr, yeah. Peace and love. Nils Lofgren, Jimmy Keltner, Joe Walsh. This is a good show, though. We saw him at Blossom Music Center in Cleveland. And assuming it was all live and real, it was really good. I think this is like 1990. Right around there, 1991 maybe, 89, 91. You'd think it would say what year this... Oh, here's the ticket stub. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of... Blossom presents, Diet Pepsi presents, Ringo Starr All-Star Band. 8 p.m., July 31st, 1989. I was a wee lad back then. The Beatles Round the World magazine. I think this is worth some cash. I think it is. I've had this magazine for years. I think my mom got this for me from a woman she worked with who had it in a collection. And I've kept it in this cover ever since. Paul McCartney. This is from April of 71. I got a Life magazine. I don't know, I think Mom got me this too from her same friend that she worked with. So what I bring all this up because Mike Williams, who I've gotten to know a little bit over the last couple of years because of his channel, Sage of Quay, introduced me to this book, Billy Shears. The Memoirs of Billy Shears. And I honestly started to read it a couple years ago. I bought this a couple years ago, and I started to read it. I got up to here. I got up through here, took some notes, and I just got overwhelmed with the book. I didn't get very far. I got overwhelmed. It's a 600 and it's a, I think it's 666 pages. Yeah, it's 666 pages. And it's a little bit too obvious for me that it's 666 in pages, but I'm going to try to read this and do a review of it. See, it's been sitting. I have a library in my house, which is really our half bathroom that I have a bookshelf in, and all the books that I read are sitting in this half bath. And when I'm on the toilet, I do my reading. And so I do little bits and pieces, because if you sit in the toilet too long, your ass goes numb. But this is a book that Mike Williams turned me on to, and I'm desperately trying to grind my way through it, because I'm not certain if I truly believe the origins of this book, who wrote it, where it came from. I'm still somewhat skeptical regarding Paul's death or his being replaced. I'm not quite certain if I believe the whole story behind it. But I still have yet to really dive into it. But what I'm going to do, this is just a precursor to my Memoirs of Billy Shears review. So once I read this, I've only gotten like 20 pages in. How many pages am I in? I don't know if I'm even through the preface yet. Yeah, I got up until page 27, I think. And I think the premise behind this is the Memoirs of Billy Shears is written by Thomas E. Uhariet, who I think is the ghostwriter, for who is allegedly writing for the guy who's playing Paul McCartney today, allegedly. I believe the book is posted as a book of fiction on Amazon and all those places. But one of the things that makes me skeptical, if the gentleman who is allegedly playing Paul McCartney right now, his replacement or his twin or whoever he is, if he's got enough time to sit down with a ghostwriter and write a 666-page book that's just filled with all kinds of symbolism and coded messages and all that stuff, I just don't know. Somebody has a lot of time in their hands. And I would think with this guy who's playing Paul McCartney, with his world tours and making songs, you know, where did he find time to write this book if they couldn't even find time to write songs in their spare time as a band? And they, you know, it just doesn't make any sense. So that's coming up. And this is just a little look into my past. Now look, there's some mold on this. We lived in a house when I was a kid that was very moldy. We had a moldy house, and it looks like the mold has gotten onto Paul's face. How appropriate. So that's what you have. That's what I got coming up. And I'll let you know more as I get through this book. I might take it up and take a chapter at a time and see what this book is about. All right, I'll be Zane, everybody. PTPOP signing off. Have a good day.